This is a review of a piece of software I downloaded. It's yet another Rust client. I want to point out that the history of this kind of stuff towards the end and why these exist and why almost all of them are based on the 2014 version. Here we go. Rust by NitrouX1 _y_raw sem grama.rar. That translates to Rust by NitrouX1 and raw, no grass rar. It's a standard hack to remove the grass because it reduces the frame rate if you don't do so, and fully removing it by doing some alteration that honestly I haven't looked into, but it does actually speed up the game and it makes it much easier to see things at a distance. But anyway, let's move on. This is a re-upload of the 2015 updated version of Rust Legacy 2014. A specific directory has 2015 files, the other one has 2014, and there are very few modifications and customizations. It works out to being about 450 megabytes or less, and it's from 2023, January 8th, the one I'm talking about here. Now, this has gotten to be named a lot of different ways, and I'm just going to bring up the history of the files on it. It's using a 2013 version of EasyAntiCheat.exe, which, given the nature of the alterations that are done to make the thing work anymore, because this is abandonware, may not be doing anything. It contains a 2014, very similar timing, June, EasyAntiCheat.exe that doesn't want to launch correctly for whatever reason. I'm sure it's something I said behind its back, but it doesn't seem necessary. 2014 July bundles Unity 3D files. That's the 2014 designation, and that's the July 11th generic copy. And it has a July 14th copy of RustProtect.dll, which is a useful piece of software. And because it ends in the day of the month 14, I want to bring up how people keep getting Rust version 25 or whatever. This one might even be put under that standard if you were doing this. For instance, if you do this as day, month, year, and you look up Rust version and then the date and timestamp with the date that way, it would say it's version 14 if you ignored the rest of the digits, which would be v14.07.2014. It's just the 2014 generic version that's been altered so that it will work because Valve and Facepunch shut down the game effectively. But anyway, let's move on. The Luma emu _ Steam client.log file, which is produced by, I don't know which individual file has been altered to contain Luma emu code, but that one timestamps as being 2014 August 25th. So if you were to put that in day, month, year, it would be V2508-2014. Again, there isn't any Rust version 25 or 2025. That doesn't exist. The time and date stamps say 2014 in almost all cases, and I'll bring up why in a minute. Anyway, that same year, October 30th, basically the Halloween version, is what we're using here. If this is what you're looking for, if you're looking for the one that is also called Macho Craft, for the Macho Craft server, that's the name of it. It was under DuxzHKDL. It's called Macho Craft. There's a lot of different things that are given the name Macho Craft, but for Rust Legacy, a lot of them, or all of them, keep pointing to the same mega.nz folder that ends in pkbg. If you're looking at this video, you're just running a couple of YouTubers' remade version of it they put out. It's a generic copy of Rust Legacy 2014 core files with 2015 updates under rust_data/manage/*DLL. The DLLs are the executables that really make the game work. And the rest of them, the Unity 3D files are just the 2014 versions. And I'll bring up why in a little while. But this is the Halloween build by NitrouX1 and a gamer called Raw. Rebranded as Unforgiven. They put in a fairly nice little banner that you could edit. You could customize or pseudo-customize these freely, so that if a person went to your server, like let's say you have a website and hey, we got a Rust server, you could download this semi-branded version of it that would say you downloaded it from them. Cool. Now this allowed people, it's not as manipulatable as Doom or any of the other older games, but it would allow you to put in things on your server that would enhance it, like EasyAntiCheat, and you could get rid of Valve Anti-Cheat if you wanted to for causing lag or whatever. You could do whatever you wanted to. You just had to download the Steam version of the server and then alter it, and that's what people did all the time. While it was legitimate, they would modify them. And this included all sorts of things like RustProtect, and you get the idea. And these are just seem to be just thrown in here. For instance, EasyAntiCheat is referenced by a command file, CMD file, that tries to launch it and then tries to run some other thing like DayZ, and it's not there. It would have been told to run Rust, and I tried using that and altering it, and the EasyAntiCheat is either disabled or it just exits because it's missing something. But anyway, the last test run for this was 2016, December 31st, right before 2017, and right after it was removed from the servers at Facepunch and removed from Steam. Later on, 2025, this was repacked and rebranded, depending on where you're looking, and you saw it being the default download. Again, it's a mega.nz that ends in PKBG. And that's actually the code to download it, because it's got a passcode for it. The actual download is got DuxzHKDL. That's the file download. The rest of it's the hash code or password to download it. But anyway, 2025, it started getting rebranded as being Rust Legacy Macho Craft, or Macho Rust. And it was for net connecting to machocraft.duckdns.org/28015, the default setting for Rust Legacy 2015 versions. Now I'll bring up that in a minute. Which of course says now it's an incompatible version, doesn't work anymore. Let's bring up our heroes that made this unforgiven version, which pops up on the screen before you start playing. The listing in the little banner, which I was able to kind of suss out and figure out, was usernames UFG NitrouX1 and A Raw Gaming Killer. His nickname is Raw. Now, when you go there now, it says UFG NitrouX1 as the username with the @ symbol. And another one for Raw, instead of it just says a Raw Gaming Killer, it just says X Raw Gaming WTF, because he changed it. Both of them have videos using this and referencing this download, which has been reused by other people and even rebranded. Like I said, altered so it says Macho Rust or whatever, but it's the same files. And the last time they played it was 2013 and 2014. And the last play on 2014 was Halloween. So this is the Halloween build by Raw and NitrouX1. That's it. It's the Unforgiven build. And they don't. And then someone decided to call it Macho Craft version. And this is the thing. It's a generic copy of Rust Legacy, and it's missing a bunch of stuff you could get from rustlegacy.eu. And it contains some extra files that kind of bloat it up, and it has a duplicate of the file set. So if you rename Rust, rebuild it, and make it Rust by Waptec, for instance, it'll want a subdirectory for the Rust data. It'll want Rust _Waptec _data or something like that. So it ends up with this really convoluted long name for it, which may or may not make it work correctly. That's why I always recommend installing these to the root directory of the hard drive. So no matter how complex the directory structure is, Windows will still work with it. Windows is still kind of stupid about long file names and deep directory structures. So it's always a better idea to do a different thing. And again, this one originally contained a default setup to run EasyAntiCheat to run some sort of DayZ clone or something. Okay, so again, it's got Luma Emu referencing to 2014, and that's where some people get the V25, but it's actually the 25th of that month that it was run or something. It has RustProtect.dll, EasyAntiCheat, that sort of thing. Now I'm going to bring up the 2014 factor for Rust Legacy. Virtually all Rust Legacy customized versions are based on the simple thing that the Rust 2013 version won't work. Yeah, that's kind of weird sounding, but let me explain. 2013 version came out with zombies and not much else. Those were placeholders for what we have now, where we have bunnies, everything but squirrels, but got bunnies, deer, all sorts of animals, and we have rat animals. But before they had really just the zombies and a few other things. They also had a couple of other new nice things. One of the early builds had a monument in the extreme south part of the map. Now it's just a couple of barrel sets and a bunch of radiation, so it's kind of a letdown. But besides removing that big monument, which was kind of cool looking, and removing the zombies, which were, let's say, lame, they also had hidden content you could invoke, like a car. It has a racetrack going around the entire map, if you haven't noticed. They added a rock update later, and it's a big squarish shape on the map that you can figure out if you get a good map. I have one that I had made a video about. And yeah, it's a splat map, which means it blotches the map with certain things, and then they tweaked it a little bit by, just a little bit. The idea is you form it mathematically above the ground and then have it drop down to fill in the spaces. For all I know, there might be rocks hidden underneath the mountain range. But the point is that these modifications were done in layers. But once they hit 2014, the differences between any of the content from 2014 to 2016, just before the holiday season when they removed it from Steam, which is a bummer, nothing really changed. So you could get away with using 2016 files and 2014 files and 2015 files and mix them all together, as is the way we'd like it. Now, if you're not aware of why this is in what I'm going to call, well, how shall we say this, pirated version, we're going to use that term from now on, because I hope the AI from Google shuts up and leaves me alone. When Christmas time was about to show up, Steam removed it and Facepunch removed Rust Legacy because almost no one was playing it, just like now, and they had spent, since 2014 forward, also having parallel to this Rust Experimental. So right after they finished making a kind of pseudo-finalized version, 2014 Summertime Rust, the last real update that actually works, it works fine, they didn't do any other add-ons to it. Now, subsequent add-ons and talk of add-ons, including adding an auto map, adding a map that would move around with you, that sort of thing, and they were discussed, and there is technically code in there. They also did things like trying to optimize it by removing, cut content like that monument in the south, and removing the leftover pieces of things that weren't finished. And they're still in there. They're still in the 2014 version, which is the reason that most of these mods and alterations contain not just all of the stuff that was going to get removed later that maybe we want to reuse later, like the antennas and, like I said, the monuments, but also contained backwards compatibility, apparently, this is rumored, for being able to add in the zombies again and putting the car back in. In fact, all of the alterations I see people doing where they do that, they're using the 2014 version and just kind of shoehorning pieces from the 2013 version. So it was more versatile. By 2015, it was maybe not as modifiable. And the 2016 version, except for having a couple of superficial things, no improvements. And again, no mapping code. So you go to rustlegacy.eu now and download the 2015 version. You have everything you need. So anyway, my review of this. It's yet another rebranding, and it got co-opted by MachoCraft and a bunch of other people. Is it worth downloading? My opinion, no. This is not really adding much to it, especially since the add-ons like EasyAntiCheat failed to launch. Sorry for wasting your time with this. But anyway, shout-outs to Nitro and Raw for making this one and making it an interesting thing to look up. And the mega.nz still works if you want to use it. It's 2014 code with 2015 update. It's no viruses, so okay. At least it doesn't crash the computer like one I just tested today. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll all need it.